Welcome, everybody, to the Torbay Public Town Council meeting for Tuesday, July 13th. Sorry about the delay this evening getting the meeting started. We had some technical issues trying to connect, and we wanted to make sure that the meeting was available to the public. All right, so let's get started. What do I need to have here? New business. Councillor Pollard.
Pass.
Okay. Councillor Thorngass.
Yes.
Okay. Councillor Roach.
Yes.
Okay. And Councillor Martin.
Just thank you.
Okay. All right, and I have a condolence and a thank you. All right, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, the meeting minutes for the public council meeting dated June 28th, 2021 are provided. Any questions, errors, or omissions? If not, I'll entertain a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Mover and seconder. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Carried. All right, proclamations, presentations, questions and answer. I do have a question. What did I do with the question? Aha. All right, the question is from Madeline Florent, and Madeline says, can we have an update on the planned move of the post office? It's not mentioned in the flood report, and we have not heard anything in a few weeks. I understood that the post office would need to submit an application to the town because there are some issues of concern that need to be addressed. Thank you, Madeline, for your question. The latest update that I have to provide to you right now is that the town has not received an application regarding the post office. And when we do, that will come to committee and it will be provided and shared in the package. Anything further to add, staff? Anything on that? Julia?
No, in general, that's correct. It's a two-stage permitting process. So there was one application, which was kind of a general fit up to get the building lease ready. And that permit was issued, but there was no application yet from Canada Post to do the actual renovation for the tenant fit up for their occupancy. So we have not received an application from Canada Post yet.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, excuse me, that's the most updated information that we have on what's happening right now with that. And you will bring it to the committee and through the package as things change on that. That's the only Q&A I have. Is there anything else come in, Don?
Nothing else.
No? Okay, so we're good. Mayor's report, I'll leave that for the mayor when he's able to join us the next meeting. No business arising that I have here. Correspondence. We have an approval letter for road upgrades for Ready Drive and Country Drive. So that's Public Works. And concerns about property at 3 Motion Lane. There's 2 letters there in the package, and those will be referred to planning. All right, on to the committees of council. Committee of the Whole. There's a Committee of the Whole minutes that are there from the meeting of July 7th. There is a motion. Can I ask for someone to move and second the report from the Committee of the Whole?
Second.
Mover and a seconder. Any comments, questions? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, carried. Next committee is Planning and Land Use Development. Councillor Martin.
I believe Councillor Thorngass was going to do that report, as I wasn't at the last meeting.
All right, Councillor Thorngass.
Microphone.
Application BR 20.
Mary, your mic, do you have it on?
Okay.
Thank you.
Application 20, no, second. 21-005, 17 Nathaniel Drive, home-based business for handmade clothing business. The town of Torbay is in receipt of an application proposing to establish a home-based business for a local handmade sustainable clothing business. All sales are conducted online. There will be no visits to the home and no signage is proposed. The town did not receive any responses or objections to the public. The committee reviewed the detailed background information provided, concurs with the department, and is forwarding the proposal to the upcoming council meeting. Motion to approve application BR 2021-005, subject to standard conditions for operating a home-based business in Torbay as recommended in attached background report, and to issue a conditional approval subject to the town of Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2020. So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any questions, any comments? No? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, carried.
Permit listings are attached for the building and development permits, approval in principle and development permits issued year to date. A motion to accept permit listings issued year to date as presented. So moved.
Second.
Mover and a seconder. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay,
I think that that's it for the motions. Municipal enforcement, the committee reviewed the report. And the mayor noted he was in attendance at the meeting. Councillor Martin sent his regrets, and Director Swartz. And the mayor is going to follow up with the RNC regarding the next meeting to invite the commissioners along to discuss ATV traffic in the town. And the committee is recommending to advise residents via town communication and social media about the RNC initiative regarding ATV use, pipe down requirements, required vehicle insurance via social media channels. The committee further discussed the request for speed calming measures as well as placement of digital speed signs on Balleen Line, Indian Line. As this is more of a public works matter, it was already discussed by that committee, and I understand that they're already on the Balleen Line. What about on Indian Line, Brian?
Yeah, we're hoping to get the second siding later on this week.
Okay, perfect. All right. Green Team, the director provided a brief update on what the Green Team is doing. They have completed their initial training, and if anybody's got any questions on any of that that's in there, go ahead and ask them. It was a short meeting. It's one of the shortest meetings that we've actually had. I will say for anybody, and I mentioned it to the director today, that we just briefly touched on the various developments that we have, and because I know that there's a number of the developers are waiting for an update, and we talked about having a committee of the whole meeting, and I'm not sure, we had hoped to have it next week, but Don, is that going to take place Monday night? Because I wanted to make sure tonight that councillors were aware that we would have a committee of the whole meeting regarding the development, current development that's on the go.
I
So
haven't
guess we'll
spoke
know
to the
by
mayor
Friday.
about it, but we should have the legal opinion back, so we should have all information to present
Yeah.
to council for Monday night.
Okay, perfect. All right. So all councillors can mark their calendars for next Monday night regarding development committee of the whole meeting, tentatively. That's it?
Is that in the report?
That's it, yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Councillor Thorngass? Okay, thank you. All right, on to the next committee, which is Administration and Finance. Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship, for your acting worship. We met on July 6th, myself, Deputy Mayor, and the CAO, Don, at 8:05 in the morning, via Zoom, folks, so it wasn't just that we had to drag ourselves out and show up anywhere, just over Zoom. I guess the mandatories for the period, payroll for 44 town employees, including summer camp, day camp, for the period June 24th to July 7th, total $121,605.87. Accounts payable for the 2-week period, June 24th to July 7th, total $214,712.04. There's 2 groups of invoices that need approval. The first group is the operating invoices that are in excess of $5,000, of which there are 3. One is for cattle grow insurance for the recreation insurance policy in the amount of $9,603. Commissionaires for enforcement from May 30th to July 12th in the amount of $5,152. And Newfoundland Power for street lights and the gateway sign for June in the amount of $12,018.31 for a total of $26,773.31. So moved.
Second.
Mover and seconder. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Councillor Roach?
OP.
You in favor? Okay. Thanks, Peggy. Get back to you, Tony.
The next 3 invoices are capital invoices. One is for construction signs, for speed calming digital signs, of which there's 3, in the amount of $12,132.50. Claim number 1 for Grand Concourse Authority for Trail Woodbridge to Western Island Trail, in the amount of $67,029.80. And progress payment number 4 for Mercer's paving for the 2020 road improvements, in the amount of $62,796.50, all for a total of $141,958.80. So moved.
Second.
Mover and a seconder. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
During the meeting, we went on to discuss the ongoing, trying to schedule a meeting to discuss the 2020 audit of financial statements. And I'm not sure if we'll do that in the future or not, or whether we're all satisfied, but we can certainly talk about that at committee of the whole, I guess. There was some discussion around the HST rebate that we had gotten for Torbay Common. As you know, the auditors did some work on that, and we received significant dollars as a result of some of the purchases that we bought or we spent in relation to the common. And there was some discrepancy, I guess, around the scope of work, but we asked the auditors to keep it to their original quote and scope of work, and additional hours are going to be theirs to absorb. Procurement audit, there is a draft report regarding the ongoing procurement audit that the municipal affairs or the procurement agency actually are doing for a number of towns in the area. We haven't seen it yet. That's under review by staff and CAO, and it will be passed on to committee and council for review once that is done and finalized with staff. Capital campaign, back in discussions again with Pilot Communications, review the records, and there'll be more to come on that in the near future once the CAO has another meeting with them to get things underway in terms of trying to close out the final amounts that are on the list for collection, I guess, or payments for some of the agreed upon amounts. And then the Canada Opportunities Agency, there was a meeting, the CAO met with those folks, and to talk about the, or to keep the project on stream, I guess, really, in terms of the amount for the acoustics and et cetera at the community center. Committee of the whole, we need to get to talk about our reserves discussion. I know Jacqueline had brought that up as an item before we had left after us discussing the committee, and that really relates to any cash that we may have at the present time, or reserves may have at the present time, or surpluses that we really should identify moving forward as to how we want those spent. So there needs to be some rules and direction put around those, and we would certainly look forward to our new Director of Corporate Services coming on stream to get that moving. And I guess on that note, and as well to the resident requests coming up, we expect that our new director will be starting the 26th of July. And we did discuss the request from residents for I guess the final report or final term report of this council, where we are year to date financially, where we are, I guess, with projects overall, just so that folks have some idea of where we stand as a council as a whole as we move from this council to the next council. And we will be setting up a meeting, hopefully, like I say, July 26th. The new director will be on stream, and hopefully not long after that we will have an updated financial status, and then we'll be able to talk about what we do forward from that public presentation. And there is a meeting with council in regards to Pickles Ridge presentation on Wednesday night. I understand that went really well. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend it. And some issues around the splash pad repair, which hopefully will be resolved in the not too distant future. And so ends my report, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Pollard. Any questions, any comments on the finance report? No? Okay. Moving on to economic development and tourism, Councillor Martin.
Thank you. Madam Chair, as you're chairing the meeting tonight, I'm going to present the motions report. In the motions report as presented for council meeting tonight, our Pickle Ridge Memorial Project on July 7th, consultants Mills and Wright presented to both town councils, Town of Torbay and the Town of Portugal Cove St. Phillips, the proposed design concepts for a memorial site within both communities, as well as signage at the site of the crash on Pickles Ridge. Next includes adoption by both town councils and further discussions on a phase 2 for funding. The presentation was well received and attendees were supportive of the proposed design concepts. The motion as presented is for council to approve in principle pending approval of the Town of Portugal Cove St. Phillips to design concepts prepared by consultants Mills and Wrights for the Pickle Ridge Memorial Project. So moved.
Second.
And a copy of the draft Mills and Wright report is attached.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any comments or questions?
I'd just like to say that it's a really worthwhile project, and the design of the monuments and everything that they came up with are absolutely wonderful, and especially in memory of our first mayor, William Manning. So I think that it's a fabulous project, and I hope that it will continue and we'll see an actual monument there at some point in the near future.
I agree. Anyone else have a comment? I think if no one else does, I'm going to jump in there too. The work that was done here by the steering committee and the consultant and the two towns working together is a great example of regional cooperation and collaboration. And it was really nice to see Mayor McDonald and Councillor Madonna Stewart come in and to sit with us and be part of the presentation and discussion. The monuments for both towns, to have them in the community so families and people can go there and reflect. And the site they've identified in Portugal Cove St. Phillips, you can actually see the ridge where the crash happened. And here in Torbay, the recommendation is up at the History House in the grounds there. And what's amazing about that, it's a quiet, reflective space, but it's also a space that can be used as an outdoor classroom with children, you know, in the school across the way, and different community groups can use that outside space. The recommendations for how they're going to honor and remember the people who were on that flight, I thought were fabulous. So, so just to thank you to everybody who was involved, and I think this is fabulous, a great way to remember everybody that was in that crash, especially our past mayor, Mr. Manning. So without any other questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, carried. Back to you, Councillor Martin.
Thank you. And there are some other committee updates in the report as well. I won't go into great depth, but big data regional demographics, there's an update there, as well as regional wayfinding project update, green team update, and as we just discussed, the Ridge Memorial project. Also, marketing for support and new businesses. I will elaborate a little bit on that one. The town is currently running an ad that encourages all business to connect with Torbay's Economic and Development Officer and apply for a business license. The ad is on social media and in the July Northeast Avalon Times. So we would like a lot of collective collaboration within our business community. So encourage everyone, small business or large, to contact Ms. Lawrence. Some information on the Torbay markets, as well as garden tourism, cultural heritage, and there's also some updates on the business support for mobile vendor locations, and that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. All right, the next is...
I got a question on that one.
Okay, sorry, Councillor Thorngass, go
On
ahead.
the garden tourism, it's saying that there's, Torbay Green Team have provided a list of 15 potential locations in Torbay in relation to the Tulip Initiative. Where are those proposed locations to? I mean, that's something that should be provided to council, to the residents.
Yep, this is an update. Director Schwartz, would you be able to speak to that?
Yeah, in general, there's 15 sites in Torbay that the Grand Concourse Authority kind of manages in terms of maintenance. So those 15 locations were provided to the Green Team, and they're looking at those now and drafting up little concepts on potential design for those, or not design, but like to come up with a little bit of an installation plan for the tulip plantings there. So that's all kind of in progress. That's not been finalized, and the team is working on it, and it's not been finished yet.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the Economic Development Report? Okay. Moving on to Infrastructure and Public Works, Councillor Thorngass.
Okay. We had our meeting on July 7th, myself and Councillor Pollard and Director Winter. History House project. We had an overview of the current work to be completed there as part of the most recent RFQ. And I've got a motion here to award the contract to complete interior renovations and exterior site grading to Barolas, right, consulting in the amount of $380,075, HST included. So moved.
Mover and a seconder. Any comments, questions?
I would just say that the three companies, I guess the three companies attended the site visit, but only one of them submitted a bill, and that was $4,500 over the estimated budget. But there's still room in the overall budget at this time to look after the $4,500.
So there's no cost overrun
Yeah.
on the project. Okay. Anyone else? No? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the director noted that there will be some additional asbestos testing completed in the interior of the building prior to work commencing. Stormwater Management Plan Implementation Committee reviewed the recommendation letter from PEC in relation to Skipper's Landing Stormwater Enhancement Project, and it was agreed that the committee would put forward a motion to award the contract to complete the upgrades to modern paving in the amount of $203,951.14. This bid is 14.9% below the pre-tender estimate. A motion to award the contract to Skipper's Landing Stormwater Drainage Area Upgrades as per project number 2021-008 to Modern Paving in the amount of $203,951.14, HST included. So moved.
Second.
Mover and a seconder. Any comments or questions? Well, I got a comment. This is fabulous. Thank you for your work on this. It's very exciting to see that we're about to award this contract, and this work is going to get started for the residents in that area. So I just want to thank you for your work on that. Any other comments or questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
The new fire department annex renovation project, which is the old depot. The director noted that the RFQ for the work on the fire department renovation has been posted and will close on July 19th, 2021. The rest of it there, the flow meter, leak detection, there have been some issues with assessing the valves, so our water and sewer techs are in the process of removing all the covers, and the contractor is scheduled to be back on site later next week. PEC is continuing to work on the design of the sand and salt storage building, and it should be ready for review by the 9th. So I guess that's already been the case. Now, for sidewalks. I'm so glad this meeting went ahead.
Me too.
A motion to award sidewalk project for the construction of sidewalks from Darrell Pye Drive to Balleen Line and from Indian Line to Norpon Road. Project number 17 RNC, interesting, 210001 to Ware Construction Limited in the amount of $766,041.50 plus HST, subject to the Department of Municipal and Provincial Affairs approval. So moved.
Second.
There you go.
Third.
Mover and a seconder. Any comments?
So this has been a long time coming, and it's so nice to be able to be here and to be able to have this motion. And now my big thing, and I gotta look over at the director and ask, is there any idea of timeframes when that might actually get started? You knew that was coming.
I did know that was coming, but I don't have a time frame. They told me it'd probably be 2 weeks for award, and then I think you said it was sometime in early mid-August, maybe start, depending on.
So we'll start sometime this summer.
Yeah, I'll have a more defined timeline at our next meeting, hopefully.
Okay, for our meeting next week.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That'll be the first thing I'll be looking for, Ron.
For sure.
Okay.
And I'll be right behind you.
Yeah, wonderful. Great to get this far.
Yeah. Anyone else have a comment?
I'll just say I'm also glad to see that it's moving forward. I remember at the beginning of our council term, we were all over there with signs and whatnot, trying to do our own speed calming. So it's good to see that after all, we finally got this moving, and hopefully it'll be done before the next school season starts this fall. Thanks.
Absolutely. Any other comments?
So I'm glad we didn't have our term update prior to this meeting.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't say that, sorry.
Wow.
I know you meant that in jest,
Yes.
Councillor Pollard. I just want to take a moment on this one too, because this has been a project that is near and dear to my heart, to make sure that pedestrian safety is something that we're looking after, and residents have spoken and we've heard sidewalks are a priority, and we're absolutely delighted to pass the motion tonight to get this started. So thank you, Director, for all of your work on this. Thank you to committee for all your work on this. I'd also like to thank our past MHA, Kevin Parsons, and Minister for coming and meeting with us and working with us to make this funding a reality. This is a provincial, federal combination that's leveraging money to help us make sure that we have this in our community, and I want to make sure they're recognized and thank you and thanked for from helping us to make this happen. So if there are any other questions or comments, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Back to you, Councillor Thorngass.
It was an easy one. Traffic calming. Director noted that speed calming measures are now in place in Evenings Pad area, and there has been a request for an additional bump, which is currently being reviewed. And he also said that he is waiting on pricing for the additional permanent speed bumps and raised crosswalks. And I understand, I touched base with him before the meeting, and I understand that he now has the 3 quotes and hoping that contract will be awarded sometime soon, real soon.
Yes, so we're looking at, I was speaking to one of the contractors today, because I'm looking at timelines from him, because the pricing is really close on the items. So I think the earliest one thus far was towards the end of July, so that's only not next week, the week after, so.
Yeah, no, that'll be good to get
Yeah.
them, because I know I'm looking at, in particular, North Pond Road area, where there's been a lot of issues and everything. I shouldn't say there in particular, because there's speeding issues now everywhere, but that was one of the areas that we had been looking at, that we had those speed bumps planned for, so, as I think that the speeding is growing. 2021 road work project, the director noted that the tender for this year's work funded under gas tax is being advertised on July 7th and closes on July 21st. And the other ongoing projects, if there's anything there that anybody's got any questions on, that's pretty straightforward. The trail development, mention is that they're working with Grand Concourse to determine the best route for this year's project, and that the director will be meeting with the landowners in the area to make sure everyone is on side with the project. And Brian, when I read that, I'm thinking about meeting with the landowners. Are we going to send them out an email advising them that, or what way when you say you're meeting with them? Because I know that's...
Yes, so my plan is I'll meet with them first on site, and then, like I do with most people, I follow up with an email and get concurrence.
Okay, just to make sure everybody's aware of it, that's all I'm
Yep.
concerned about. And solid waste and recycling disposal contract tender, the committee reviewed the tender results, and it was agreed to put forward a motion to award the contract to the lowest bidder. Motion to award the solid waste and recycling disposal contract tender T2021-07-01 to GFL Environmental, one in the amount of $356,806, HST included. This contract is a 3-year contract with a possible 1 to 2 year extension. So moved.
Second.
Mover and seconder, any comments?
I just want to say that this is, when we discussed it at committee, this is significantly lower than the present contract we are operating under. So it surprised me for sure, and it'd be interesting to see how the contractor actually does with the work. So look forward to it. It's great that it's less. I just hope that there's not an expectation that they're expecting something that's not there, because we got to hold them to the same standard that the existing contract is under as well, right? So.
Yeah. And that'll be something too now that residents, anybody that's viewing from home, will look at, I guess, when we'll have to communicate out with the changes, because there may be some changes in when people's garbage, the routes that garbage will be picked up. Anyway.
Okay, I've got a quick question. It says here there's a possible extension for a 1 or a 2 year extension. Does the contract state that the cost stays the same if it is extended? What's the details on that?
We'll draft the contract once the motion is passed by council, and we'll use the similar clause to previous garbage contracts, so the price would stay the same.
The price would stay the
Yep.
same if it's
Yep.
extended?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's clarified if we did do that. All right, any more questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All right, carried. Next.
Annual lawn painting emergency plan, that's something now that I guess we need to get back on track again when we had this. So I guess all the department heads will be meeting soon on that, and I understand that it's back with the CAO. So, because it would be something that we would like to get this clued up from this term of council. So it's back with you, Don?
The Director of Corporate Services starts on July 26th, so once he's onboarded, we will arrange a team meeting to discuss and include the draft pandemic plan as part of that,
Yeah,
so that'll
that's-
come back through council, committee, and then council.
Okay. And the accessible, access to Waterways Pond, that's something that's being looked at, so. And the speed calming request, committee reviewed emails in relation to speeding and the lack of shouldering on Balleen Line.
Councillor Thorngas, before you get into that one,
Yeah.
where I live on Balling Line, I'm wondering, should I recuse myself from this discussion and this motion? Last council, but I'm a resident of Balling Line,
But it's
so I'm wondering if I should be part of this discussion, if I
monetary
should
gain.
step out.
I don't think you need to, there's not a monetary gain to this, to
CAO?
Councillor Thorngas's side of things.
Council decision.
Yeah, but there's no-
It applies to whoever utilizes Pauline Line. But if Deputy Mayor feels more comfortable, maybe a motion to that effect?
Yeah.
So it's part of the record?
Could I ask for a motion so that,
I move Deputy Mayor not in conflict relating to the speed calming motion on Balleen Line.
second.
any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the committee reviewed emails, and we've received a number of emails in relation to speeding and the lack of shouldering on Balleen Line. After much discussion, committee agreed that it would put forward a motion to seek a price to have an engineering firm look at the issues in the area in relation to speeding and walkability. And once we have the analysis and what have you done on it, take that to the provincial government to work, service and transportation. We're not saying here that the town should incur the cost of whatever, but right now, there is, since the road got paved in there, like residents are saying, it's pretty dangerous with the speeding and everything that's taking place. So again, where it's a provincial road, we talked about it, and we came to the consensus to bring a motion here, and the motion reads to provide the Director of Public Works Infrastructure the authorization to seek pricing on a study to determine solutions to the speeding and shouldering issues on the Balleen Line from the bypass road to Upper Three Corn Park. So moved.
Second.
Mover and a seconder.
So this motion, I guess, knowing the seriousness and who owns the road, like I just said, this would be something that we don't currently, we'd have to look for. We know that this is not something that's in our budget, and that we'd have to go back and look for funding to do something like this, but I think is evident here this evening, maybe there's one place in particular that we could look at coming up for the funds to do such a report.
Just further, that the motion itself is to go out and request pricing to get the work done. So obviously, when it comes back, then there'll be another decision to actually move ahead or not move ahead. The other basis of the motion is really the fact that, to Councillor Thorngas's point, that is not a town road, it's a provincial-owned road, and we know, and this is not meant as a slight, but the amount, it's taken an awful long time to get the Transportation Works to come here and do a study and spend the time. So we're trying to cut through the chase, realizing that there is a huge issue here, to try to get some idea what it costs, what the solution is, and then hopefully at the end of it all, go in and say, listen, here's the solution. We did all the backup work for you. This is what needs to be done. So, come help us, that type scenario.
Councillor Martin?
Thanks. I see where you're coming from. I just got a quick question. I do support what you're trying to do. Do we need authorization from infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, or the provincial government to do a study on their road where it is theirs? Is that irrelevant or relevant?
I guess that could be something that could be done once we have the motion.
Okay.
I wouldn't think so, but by the same token, I don't really care, but sorry, that's it. But it's the money spent and the actual doing some work in there that would probably take time.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they're gotta do some, I don't know if there's any test hole related scenarios or anything along those lines, any work that they would have to do. Traffic would have been an issue, obviously, so I would get some type of permission from them in order to control any traffic if there's an engineer or someone that goes in there.
Right,
But-
and that'll come in after the
Yeah.
fact.
It's no different than when we put the crosswalks
Okay.
on Torbay Road. So we engaged the engineers and then they reached out to Transportation Works at the time to determine their needs, requirements.
Okay. You know, I support this. I've been reading a lot of the concerns that are coming in from residents, and we can contribute to as much as we can with respect to a resolution, so I'll support this motion in efforts to help find a solution.
So I've got a question about the motion. I'm struggling with this motion, and I'll tell you why. I don't think that the town of Torbay residents should have to use our taxpayers' dollars to study a solution for this road. And in fact, I spoke to MHA Wall myself about this because one of the most vocal people about the concerns in that area lives directly across from me. And what MHA Wall told me was that we should put forward a motion that would say that the town of Torbay would like to have direction, to work with and speak with the Department of Transportation and Works to find a resolution here, if that includes speed bumps or whatever it might be. I know that the province, had this work done, and I understand that, they've had a contractor come in and do the work, but I believe it's the province's responsibility to make sure that the sides of those roads have a space for people to walk. And I can tell you, I walk my dog up there and trying to clean up behind her this week. There was nowhere to stop and clean up her, from her, because there was not enough room on the sidewalk for us to stay on the sidewalk while I cleaned it. It was quite dangerous. So, I feel that this motion, I'd like to see this motion amended so that the cost, I do understand that we're saying we're seeking permission to find out what the cost will be, and this is not to move forward.
Seek pricing.
And I don't have a problem with looking at pricing, but I think it's important that if we're going to, approve that the director go find it what the price might be, I also think we should entertain a motion that gives the MHA the direction from the town council to start that conversation with the Department of Transportation and Works now, asking that he go ahead on our behalf and have those conversations to see if they can find solutions, because they may be able to do that while we're looking at potential pricing. And the other question I have is, are there any costs associated with seeking the pricing in the first place? For someone to go and actually work up a price for you, Brian, would you expect costs associated with that?
I wouldn't think, no, 'cause, what my plan was, I would deal with one of our current consultants and tell them what we're looking at doing there, and they would provide me with an estimate on what to do a study as such on it.
Right,
And
okay.
they would look at, like, say, whether or not the road was constructed to the current spec, is it expanded from did the previous road there, has it changed from that, and stuff like that.
Right, okay.
Because I did go in there last week and I measured the width of the asphalt, because just from driving in there, I think the asphalt is wider than it was before, and that's the reason we've lost some of the shoulder. And it is a little bit wider, not a lot, but it is a little bit wider. So,
Okay.
and then you got the slope of the ditch and all that stuff, so. But to answer your question, there would be a cost to get the
Okay.
price. No.
So maybe what we can do is I can support seeking a price to find out, because there is a safety issue, a pedestrian safety issue there. But, and I don't know if I could even put a forward motion if I was sitting here chairing the meeting. I think I might have to hand the chair off to put that one out. But I do think it's important, and I had a chat with Councillor Thorngoss this week about it as well. I really do think it's important for us to pass a motion this evening as well, asking that the MHA speak with Transportation Works to see what they can do while we're doing this in parallel time.
We can. I don't see that a motion would be necessary. The fact that there's a motion on books say we're going to go look for it, we can sit down with the MHA and say, listen, this is what we're doing.
I think-
Act on our behalf. But I'm fine to put a motion forward for that.
Yeah, I think the conversation that I had with him was that if he had the motion, he could take it with him when he went, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if we could do that. All right, any more comments on the motion on the floor? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion's passed. Are
I'll
we,
put forward the next motion. So,
Yeah.
okay. Motion, I move that council reach out or staff reach out to MHA Wall to further discussions with transportation and infrastructure in relation to speeding and shouldering issues on the Balleen line.
okay, motion's moved in second. Any questions, comments?
I'd just like to put in there as well that we've asked the director to go back to see if there are any guidelines for the width off the pavement and off the shoulders, the roads, because that's something that's really important along those lines, especially with the safety issues along with the speeding, but where there's basically hardly any shoulder off the road left in there, there got to be some kind of regulations for that.
Yeah.
But I'm in, you know, I'm in approval and support, fully support the motion that Councillor Pollard just put forward.
Thank you, Councillor Thorngass. Anyone else? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, next Committee of Council, Recreation Community Services. Councillor Glant. Oh, sorry. Oh, my. Councillor Martin, my apologies.
No worries.
My apologies.
Thank you. I have a Recreation and Community Services motions report here. Looking at the minutes, Mayor Scott attended in my absence as ex officio with Councillor Gallant and Director Jen Martin. So this is my first time meeting Director Martin, so welcome aboard. I look forward to working with you. And also welcome Director Whalen as well, even though you're not in the recreation, but I'll include you. So first here, there's a motion for the from the July 6th meeting for the Torbay Common Lobby and Gym Acoustic. The committee reviewed the bid submission provided by Glen Barnes Architecture Inc. for the tender referencing the lobby and gymnasium acoustics project at Torbay Common. Glen Barnes Architecture recommends awarding the contract to Interior Specialties Limited for their bid price of $96,000, HST included. Motion as presented is for Council to award the tender for lobby and gymnasium acoustics for Torbay Common to Interior Specialties Limited in the amount of $96,000, HST included. So moved.
Second.
And I would like to note there is relevant attached documentation provided by Glen Barnes Architecture Inc. regarding the bid process, should anyone have any questions concerning that.
Any questions or comments?
Should the motion be $96,600, sorry?
Do we have the breakdown of how much of that is covered by the COA funding?
No, that can be provided to council.
Yeah, I think it's important to just let residents know that this is a project that's being funded
Cost-shared.
through the COA funding that was available for that as well. So the entirety of this cost is not absorbed by the residents of Torbay. It's cost shared with the federal government and provincial government as well, or just federal government down?
Correct.
Okay, well, it's provincial and federal.
Yes.
Okay, yep.
To Councillor Pollard's comment, it should be 96,600, the motion. If you look at the background, the tender submission, the document,
Yep.
Glen Barnes' report, it says 96,600.
It is, yep. None. So can we amend that?
Yes.
Okay, so amended motion for $96,600, HST included. All right, any other comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Councillor Roach, are you in favor? You good?
She's
Okay, I didn't hear you. I think it's the plexiglass, Peggy. I can't hear you, so I'm sorry. Thank you, though. I know. Okay.
Okay, and also from that July 6th meeting, there were some updates as well regarding fall programs. Program updates regarding fall planning and Torbay's birthday. There's also facilities update with regards to the rentals, and Director Barton is researching information regarding the NL COVID-19 reopening plan. There's also the motion that just passed was discussed. Facility booking request process. Director is working on an updated facilities booking request system to ensure consistent and fair process for rentals. And additionally, the Killicoast Games, the town had over 130 youth registered to participate in the Killicoast Games, which will be held from August 15th to 27th in the town of Logan Bay and Local of Outer Cove. Toasters requested each municipality cover the cost of shirts and hats for the town's athletes. Staff are also looking for volunteer coaches to help out this event. There is some new business, and the Director will look at the possibility of creating a recreation pass, monthly, 6-month, yearly etc. system to see if it's feasible for the town. And Director is also working with the communications coordinator to update their recreation content on the town's website to ensure it's more user-friendly for residents. And their meeting adjourned at 6:10 p.m. And that ends my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Any questions or comments?
Yes.
Councillor
Torbay's birthday. I'm assuming that that's going to go out on a rec card or some way in the mail for people who are not on social media to let them know that it's taken place.
Director Martin, would you like to?
Yeah, that's gone out in the promotion flyer for July and August, but there'll also be a separate promotion done as well. I'm working with that with the communications coordinator. Should be out this week, hopefully.
All right, thank you. And I had another, something else that I was going to ask there. Oh, it's good to see about the facilities and about what you're doing about the rentals. But I had a question, and I said to the resident that I would bring it up tonight, in that they tried to book a baby shower there for the weekend, and we're told that we're not taking any bookings on weekends or looking after baby showers or anything of that nature. What's the reasoning behind that? Should I ask you that too? I'm afraid I'm putting you on the spot. Somebody do?
No, right now we're not doing private rentals due to COVID guidelines, so that will change by September. And I've already talked to probably 3 or 4 people in town, residents who want to book private rentals for the fall. So that's the guidelines right now, but we will be moving out of that, and we're just working on the guidelines of what those numbers look like.
But I thought the guidelines now had changed where you're allowed to have so many people in a room. I mean, it's being used for different activities and what have you there, even if there's a limited number of people. Because I guess the way that I got approached with this, they just wanted to have the baby shower or what have you there, and even if it was the 1st of August, because of the program is what they were told, because of our summer program, which I can't see that being the case on weekends and in the evenings. So if there's any way of looking at that, I'm just...
Yeah, I'll have a look at it.
Are opened.
The thing we're looking at too is staffing, because it takes a little while to get the staffing schedule ironed out, but it is something we're working on. I'm after getting a dozen requests already. There have been a couple of people kind of inquire about July and August, but I never heard back from them, so I don't know. But I'd welcome more, communication among that to see how much demand there is, and then we can maybe look at it, open it before September if possible.
Because it was my understanding that there was staff there on weekends anyway.
I could be wrong on this, but there may be a difference between private functions and other groups, because other groups have startup protocols required. Like if you're an organized group that's registered somewhere, you have startup protocols. I'm just trying to do this, and it might be, I know there's some confusion around the direction from the province under COVID guidelines, but I know private issues, private parties or whatever it is, are treated differently. And now we might be right on that transition line now between free and not free, but I know it's slightly different for organized groups because they have their own startup protocols that they have to be under as well. So us as a town wouldn't necessarily have to worry about those, but private groups are different.
But you think when they had weddings announced and what have you, that you were allowed to have so many in a group? I mean, we could be booking that place out for a wedding. Wouldn't you think that the same guidelines would have approved? Anyway, it's confusing, but anyway, I said I'd bring it up and I asked the question.
Director Martin, perhaps we could discuss further at our next committee meeting and then bring back an update to our next council meeting.
Yeah, I can do a little bit more research on
Okay.
it and we can chat about it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Just a quick question on the report. Director, if you could speak to the concept around the recreation pass for monthly, 6-month, yearly, what would that look like? And the reason I'm asking that is, you know, if we're offering programs, we usually have registration for certain events, so that, especially with COVID, we'd have certain numbers that are eligible for those. So how exactly are you guys thinking that could work with COVID in place, and what's that concept like?
So the idea with that is kind of everything right now you have to register on e-services. So when I counted, there's probably, I think there was 8, potentially 11 programs that could kind of fit. So say like a $5 cost or a $2 cost. The problem with that is, you know, a lot of town residents, or some town residents, I should say, might not want to go on and use a Visa on e-services to register just for a $2 drop-in program. So that's where your you know, monthly rec passes or your 6-month rec passes could come in. We would develop a guideline where certain programs would fit in to that pass. So say you might have 5 programs that, you know, if you have that monthly pass would allow you to get in. Now that being said, we would still have to go by COVID guidelines. So that would be, you'd still do registration at the door. So as people come in, you're still signing them in, you still stick by those numbers. And that would have to be advertised as noted. But it just allows, I think it would help with participation, because instead of people having to go on with the $2 registration, they can use their monthly rec pass. And I do need to do a little bit more research on that. I know it's been used in other municipalities, but that would be something, when I do, you know, the research and what it could exactly look like, I'd bring it back to committee and then we'd kind of go from there. But that's the background idea on it.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions, comments? Is that it for the report,
Yes,
Councillor?
yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, liaison committees. Atlantic Mayors Congress, the mayor is not here. Intergovernmental Affairs, mayor can update next meeting. Jackburn Regional Sports Entertainment Center, there is no update there for now. Northeast Avalon Joint Council is on break, right?
On break for the summer.
Yeah. Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, that's the mayor. Torbay Volunteer Fire Department, Councillor Martin.
Thank you. Minutes are enclosed from the June 21st, 2021 meeting for review. The next meeting is this coming Monday night, and I'll be in attendance as liaison.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And UMC would be Mayor Scott, and there hasn't been a meeting. No notice of motions, new business, Councillor Glenn, my goodness, Martin, that's twice. Sorry, Justin, go ahead.
No worries. I'm not even on that side of the road.
I'll tell you.
No, I just want to thank Mayor Scott for filling in for me as ex officio on my various committee and liaison meetings, as well as on some medical leave. And also I want to take a moment as well, if I may, Madam Chair, to extend condolence to Miss Michelle Thorne of the Torbay Business Network over the recent loss of her son. I know she's a local store when it comes to the business network, and she's also a local realtor as well. So I do want to extend condolences to the loss of her son as well. I forgot to include that at the beginning, but that's
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. And I was going to do the same thing, extend condolences to Michelle and the Thorne family. And, you know, it's heartbreaking when tragedy strikes our town. And I received an email from Travis's best friend, and asking for council to consider supporting them in efforts that they wanted to put forward in memory of their friend, Travis Wheaton. So I just wanted to say, you know, it takes an awful lot of strength and leadership for our youth to come together and start organizing and thinking of those things in times like that. So hats off to the kids, and you know, our hearts and souls are with the families, the Wheaton and the Thorne families, as they're dealing with their loss. I wanted to also say thank you. I've spent the last couple of weeks now in at the Upper Three Corner Palm Park, and I know Laura Waterman and the team have done a fabulous job to get the minor softball program up and running, and I know that the Northeast United Soccer Club have been working, and there's been a lot of parents and a lot of children and a lot of happy faces and a lot of volunteers and summer staff working hard to offer programs in there every night this week. So I just wanted to say thank you, because if it wasn't for the volunteers and the work that they do, those programs wouldn't be there. And thank you to the town and the staff here for supporting that work as well, because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do it. And Councillor Pollard, you're 100% right. Those organizations have rules they have to operate by to make sure that they're operating in COVID safe ways. And the logistics and coordination and the heart and passion from these volunteers is fabulous. So so thank you. All right, any questions and answers, CAO? Okay. Well then, our next public council meeting will be scheduled to take place on July 26th at 6:30 p.m. in the council chambers here in Torbay. And again, sorry for the late start. Technical difficulties happen all the time, and that's it. And welcome to our new directors. Very glad to see you guys in chambers tonight. So welcome. Thank you for being here. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.